We have objects in the sky that are the size of an SUV over any city, over any state. It's an invasion of our airspace. In focus now, Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, you know, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers are digesting this. Iran has the capability to pull up along our eastern seaboard and launch drones the size of an SUV into the skies of several states, particularly New Jersey, where we know the incoming president has a large home, also in the same county or nearby where some of these drones in New Jersey have been seen. That capability exists. It's possible some of those drones are here. So I have two questions. How are they fueling them? They have to land somewhere. Drones don't fly forever. Why don't they close down the airspace? Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's the holidays. Shut it down. But if you start shooting things and you don't know how they're fueled, that's going to be mass explosions. This isn't like one spy balloon. Congressman, this is serious.
We've got to bring them down, and we've got to find a way to bring them down. I don't know exactly where they're landing. Obviously, I have some information. And again, this isn't just Jeff Van Drew. Oh, let's get on Harris Faulkner's show and say something outrageous. I'm telling you the straight deal from very high positioned individuals who are telling me this. And the bottom line is they're launching them. They are across the country. We don't even have anything like this. No. Our government, and also certainly our hobbyists, don't. So think about it. It's not only do I have the information, but it's also common sense. We've got to get them down. We've got to determine how they function, what they do, make sure that we can get them, and you're right, in a safe way. When I say shoot them down, get them down any way that you can, but right now they're probably extracting information. This is a clear and present danger to the United States and to our president-elect, and it's a serious business.
Well, and if one of them happens to fall and they're fueled, that explosion could kill people. I have to let you go, Congressman, but I'm so grateful for your time today.
Head live to the Pentagon because they are briefing on this right now.
Coming from a foreign entity or adversary?
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States. Phil.
Just a few questions really quick on Syria. Did General Kurilla speak to Secretary Austin before or after his trip to Syria? Can you give us any details?
So pretty remarkable, John, because obviously that was our own Jen Griffin there asking about an interview that happened right here on Fox News earlier today.
Let's go to our correspondent on this story, Nate Foy, in Ewing Township, New Jersey. Nate, the frustration and even in some places the fear and concern grows by the hour.
Absolutely, Harris, and it's increasing by the day. And you heard some of that frustration from lawmakers today. Essentially, the story here in New Jersey, where we are, is that state assemblymen, legislators, mayors all came here for briefings thinking that Governor Murphy was going to be here. Many were frustrated. His office, Governor Murphy's office, called the meeting. They thought that he should be here, and they also thought that the FBI, the lead agency in this investigation, should be here. Take a look at some of the reactions.
The governor is not inside. Where are you, Phil Murphy? This is ridiculous.
I really thought he was going to be here for us because he needs to answer us. Responsibility has to lie on him. And maybe we need a state of emergency at this point.
So, Harris, one mayor told Fox that state police are investigating more than 180 drone sightings, and they're having difficulty picking up a signal from the drones, so they don't know who's flying them, and they also don't know where they take off and land. Now, some say the drones should be shot down, but that raises the risk of collateral damage. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill asked the FBI what process is in place to disable these drones if necessary.
So authority exists to mitigate a UAS in flight when authorized, and that could certainly apply to a sensitive site. I would be a little measured in speaking for the Department of Defense for those sites that are in question here.
One New Jersey State Assemblywoman says that it's misleading for authorities to say that there's no known threat to public safety because they don't know enough to actually say that. So a lot of frustration here today, Harris.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what it is, you don't know if it's safe or not. And that's okay. And Gregory Goins, who has spent nearly a decade researching UFOs and UAPs, and he's advocating for more transparency from the U.S. government on the issue, and he is from New Jersey. All right, full disclosure, also from that cobalt blue state. Gregory, let me just start with this, right where Nate and I left off. I don't think that you can dismiss people's concerns when these things have been flying over New Jersey and other parts of the East Coast, but mostly there, for a month. Like, how do they not communicate with us that at least tell us, hey, look, we have our eye on the situation? And the part where some of them are the size of an SUV, if it were to fall indiscriminately, it could kill people.
Absolutely. It's a scary situation. You know, you have groups of them too. You know, sometimes there's 5, 6, 7. The Coast Guard reported dozens following their boats, and nobody knows what to do, you know. Congress has been trying to get the answer. This isn't a new problem, though. It's a new problem for New Jersey, but unidentified anomalous phenomena have been happening in swarms for the last several years and even before that. You know, Langley Air Force Base last year had a swarm for 17 days, and we still have no idea what those are. You know, there's been no word. So we need to get answers. Congress has pushed legislation like the UAP Disclosure Act to force that information from the Pentagon, but they're not willing to share it. And that bill got killed in the Senate, in the Senate and the House somehow. So, you know, they're also holding hearings in both the House and Senate to get whistleblowers in there to testify as to what they have information of. And, you know, we're just not getting to the bottom of it yet.
That was my next question, because when Congressman Jeff Van Drew began spilling some information today, and then just moments ago, off the top of the show, we had another Congressman, Gonzalez, also saying he's talked with people who are believing, and there will be verification eventually, I would imagine, that there's some kind of ship off the coast of the East Coast, an Iranian ship that left port. They've tracked it. They know the time it would have arrived, and that it was carrying a lot of drones that appeared in our skies about the same time. I mean, these are people coming from different sectors now. They have to tell us something.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big issues, is that different parts of the government are telling us different things. You know, the Pentagon, after that report with Jeff Van Drew, they denied it. They said that it's not foreign adversary. They said it's also not military. And so they're saying one thing, the FBI is still saying they have no idea. So we're hearing a lot of different things from a lot of different areas. And people are getting scared that there's an Iranian mothership, you know, carrying these drones off the coast of New Jersey. And, you know, need I remind everybody that this failure of miscommunication to share information between different agencies is what caused catastrophes like Pearl Harbor and 9/11. So, we really need some transparency, and we need the Pentagon to open up, but we need people to push our legislators to get that information. Hopefully what's happening in New Jersey will motivate people to force that type of legislation through.
Yeah, that is something that affects every American. Gregory, just real quick, the science of these things. You've seen video, you know people who've directly put their eyes on it. Is there movement that you are concerned with? I know the size of some of them is a problem because they're huge.
Yeah, I mean, the mayor of, I think it's a town down in Dover, he was saying that one was hovering and, around it were 7 other ones that were going in erratic movements quickly. So, they definitely have some odd movements. And then also they tend to disappear when, Black Hawk helicopters get near them. So,
Yes.
evasiveness, odd movements, large groupings, concern.
Yeah, and I've had witnesses tell me if you shine a light on them, everything goes dark and you can see that on your camera. Well, that makes sense because they have a sensitivity so they don't hit things. So light or presence of something big would make them shut down. I mean, I get it. I mean, small objects are like that if they're battery operated and have sensitivity. Motion sensor is what they're doing. Gregory,
Absolutely.
so great to talk with you. Thank you for your expertise today. That is Texas Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez. He is with me live now. Congressman Gonzalez, is this a national security threat?
It is, or it could be, very likely maybe. I did have a conversation this morning with a high-level law enforcement official where we talked about the possibility of a mothership being there with the drones. I think the fact that we don't have definitive answers is worrisome. Sitting on the Appropriations Committee, I often ask, where is our money going? And then the other question is, if we don't know the answers, why? And when I got a response yesterday that said, the FBI only has a budget of $500,000 and Customs and Border Protection only has a budget of $0 for counter drones, this is a problem.
Well, look, you want to talk about budgeting. Think about the budget and resources among all those municipalities, in particularly New Jersey, near where the incoming president, number 47 for this nation, lives. I mean, can you imagine what those sheriff's departments and police officers are going through? They're having to talk with the public that is not informed on something that some of these drones have been reported to be the size of an SUV, Congressman.
You're right, and these threats are very real. Here we have, it's not as if a what if could happen to President Trump. This has already happened, and other threats have been circulated. The Iranians are surely always up to no good. It's just we have to keep our eye on the ball, and ultimately, the American people deserve to know what is happening, where their taxpayers' dollars going, and if they're not getting answers, well, how do we put resources towards making sure law enforcement has every instrument possible to keep us safe, and also, more important, probably ultimately important, keep the President of the United States or the incoming President of the United States, Trump, equally as safe.
Look, scientists are telling me now that our law enforcement, our local municipality, law enforcement does not have the capability to study these drones. I mean, you need the Department of Defense to come in at this point and close down some of the airspace so that they can figure out what's going on. Now, I took away from what you said, yeah, I don't know, maybe the Pentagon was either not telling us everything that's going on or spoke too soon, because multiple people now are talking about the idea that Iran may have some part in this. We don't know, but maybe.
Well, when I had this conversation with a high-level official, it was very clear it was important to them, and they're doing everything they can to find more information. But this is, once again, where this administration has failed. We need more transparency, good parts, the bad parts, the ugly parts, so that way we can fix things. We just want people to be safe. You don't want to have the unknown. The drone technology is not a new technology. It's an old technology. What happens when you add AI to it? Things get scary very fast, and the American people deserve to feel safe. They also deserve to have their taxpayer dollars going towards making them safe, not just when we invest $0 in counter drone technology, that's a problem.
Is that what's happening? I mean, I do want to know how there's no calculation after you see maybe 4 or 5 nights, and now we're a month into this. I mean, what if this is driven by fossil fuel and a thing that's the size of an SUV crashes into a house because it runs out of fuel? What if it is battery power? It should be landing someplace and recharging. We can't follow that. We've got to close the airspace. What do you want to see happen?
I want us not to go, oh, I told you so, and look back, and you can see this train wreck happening. So let's get ahead of it. There's already technology now where you can send a drone up and intercept another drone, right? And you can essentially capture it. I've talked about capturing it, not necessarily because there's danger to shooting things out of the air.
I agree.
How do we capture it so that way we can bring it back, figure out where it came from, find its flight path, find its frequencies, find some of the metadata that's embedded in it, the information that was sharing, who was it sharing to, so that way you're not just going after an instrument, you're going after a network. This is the level of detail that our federal government needs to be working with our state and local partners to solve, to keep Americans safe. That's what I've been pushing for, as well as many of my House Republican colleagues, to get answers that the American people deserve and ultimately keep us all safe.
You just took this to another level. They're flying near the home, Bedminster, New Jersey, of the incoming president, and you're suggesting that collecting information could be part of this. This sounds like the China spy balloon that the White House didn't tell us about for a week. I mean, this is a lot. Congressman Gonzalez, I'm so grateful for your time and your expertise. I can't wait till the next time we talk, because I hope we both have more answers.
Thank you, Harris.
Thank you.
What is going on in our skies? The Biden administration is totally clueless over a group of mysterious drones that have been tormenting the residents of New Jersey, flying near sensitive sites like a military research facility, and even buzzing near President-elect Donald Trump's Bedminster estate. The FBI revealing to Congress that the agency is simply in the dark. But New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew says enough is enough. It's time to shoot these suckers out of the sky.
Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down.
There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Okay, Jesse.
Yeah.
We could laugh about the mothership launching drones. It's either an alien spaceship, secret U.S. military experiment, Russia, Chinese. But why, whatever it is, how could the United States government say, we don't know, and allow it to fly? Are they lying to us?
Are they lying to us? The government would never lie to us, Judge
You mean
Janine.
like what they did with the spy craft and the Chinese spy craft?
If it's aliens, then they can't say it's aliens.
Well, no, they pretty much admitted UFOs.
You think the Pentagon is going to say, yeah, they're just a bunch of aliens?
But what if you're living in New Jersey and I hear they're coming into New York? Should you have to suffer one of those suckers, and that's from the script, falling on your house?
Then you can sue, Judge Janine.
Yeah.
It's the perfect opportunity to call Judge Janine. Look, the Pentagon's probably just like, remain calm. My theory is this is a defense contractor that's testing drones. They have a high security clearance. Only a few people know about it. Because they can't test it in the desert. There's nothing there. They got to test it over reservoirs, urban, suburban areas, military bases, which there is a huge one right where this is happening, and maybe Trump's club. Other than that, I don't know. They say there are thousands of sightings since November. They are up there for 6 to 7 hours. There's no RF signal, so you can't detect them. And then at any time you go near them, they shut the lights off.
Yeah, they darken. But, so how much we spend on intelligence, Dana, and how much information we have, and yet, they've got to give the public some sense of, safety here, as opposed to saying we're either lying to you or we don't know.
A state assemblyman of New Jersey who was in one of the meetings today, and he said it's remarkable how little they know, and scary.
He believes
how little
that.
They know. Yeah, he does. And he said, for example, well, actually, he didn't say this, but I was thinking about this. For a long time, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, has been giving out these monies for anti-drone technology stuff to these communities, and none of it's working. And so, and then they go dark, and then they don't know. And with the spy balloon that you mentioned in China, remember, everyone, for a week, we were like, what is that? What's going on? What are they doing? And basically, the government, the Biden administration, said that they were never going to tell us anything anyway. So no wonder people are worried about it, because it's not just one hot air balloon. This is multiple SUV-sized drones, and I'll tell you why I knew this was a big deal. One, Rich Zioli, who's our Fox News affiliate radio guy in Pennsylvania, in Philly, he said on his radio show yesterday, for 3 hours, he takes calls. Every single call was about this.
Yeah, sure.
And then I got a call from my dad. He's like, what is going on? Are you okay? Is everything okay? And the government cannot assure us of anything. No wonder there's wild ideas out there.
You know, the FBI says there is nothing that would lead one to say Americans are at risk, but we really don't know.
Yeah.
So if you don't
It's
know,
like-
how are we safe?
Yeah.
Yeah, so drone warfare is the war of the future. I did a really cool segment on this on the Big Weekend Show about a month ago when we were seeing it in Israel, from Iran, and also in Ukraine at the same time. The way most people understand drones is they think someone's with a remote control and the drone's going out and doing its thing. Well, when that happens, the remote control is talking to the drone's talking back to it. There's a signal going through the air. That's old school technology. That's antiquated at this point. So what they're doing with drones now is they're integrating artificial intelligence with land markers that can be spotted with a camera on the drone. You're not controlling it at all. It's controlling itself. It's got a designated path that it's taking and it's doing it. So our number one defeat against drones is to jam that signal. If my remote control is sending it a signal, I'm going to send 1,000 different signals. It can't hear it anymore, and it gets confused and it comes to the ground or goes off path, and we can take control of it. That's not even an issue or an option with the latest technology in these drones. The term mothership is actually something being used because they're developing technology to where you can take a big drone up and it deploys what's called a swarm, a bunch of small drones. And then if you can jam, it's got the capability to move and get out of your jamming reach. There's a lot in this space of drones that Americans don't quite understand or know yet. And the truth is the entire West is behind on drone technology. I talked to a good friend of mine that works at one of the big aviation defense contracting, and he said, you know what, man, I don't have a clue. And unfortunately, that's where we are.
You know, it's interesting, and you were a legislator, Harold, you know, they're saying that we need legislation to grant law enforcement the authority to shoot them down. So say you don't want to shoot it down, but you should be able to corner it to some extent so that it's got to go down. I mean, you don't have to shoot it down and blow it up. But how long are we going to tolerate this? The government told us that they weren't taking pictures of China spy craft in real time. Then when it gets over the Atlantic, we blow it up. Oh, sorry, they were taking pictures in real time over military bases.
So I don't know an answer to any of the questions that you posed, but I dare to say this. First off, that was a great, thank you for sharing that about drones and how that technology is used and the advances there. It seems like that's going to be a big part of our future munitions and weapon systems. Two, every law enforcement has every right, if they believe their community or the space that they are protecting is violated or threatened, they could shoot it down if they chose to. There's nothing stopping them from shooting it down, and I hope that if I lived in that neighborhood, I would probably want them to take greater action. I've heard what Dana said, that these things are the size of cars or SUVs. Three, I heard the Defense Department answer, I think, Jesse, I agree with Jesse. I think your theory, Jesse, this is a defense contract. I think it could be a defense contract or even perhaps one of our intelligence agencies that's doing this, because the Defense Department said that it was not posing a threat to any military installation, that there was not any mothership or ship off the East Coast that these things were taking off, unless they're blatantly lying to us. So I deduce like you do, this must be, there's no way you're allowing this to happen in our airspace unless they're testing something. Joey would have an interesting and probably a better perspective on this, having served in the military, but there's something else going on here. But I have to tell you, if I lived in a neighborhood and I looked out my window, or my kids were looking out their window and they saw that, I'd be calling the police and certainly be calling the governor and others. And I would hope that Governor Murphy's probably, I would imagine he's had a call with the White House saying, what the heck is this that's flying in my airspace?
But nobody's been doing anything for a month.
And then they should share with the people.
There's one aspect of this that we didn't talk about that may blow a hole in the idea that it's all defense, all our friendlies. They just arrested a Chinese guy who was flying a drone next to a military base, and this is happening overseas on U.S. military bases. So that makes it hard to land one place or the other.
So frequent. You would think they would have shot these down. This has happened like many, many, many nights.
You'd think they'd have
I'm
shot that
glad to
balloon
hear
down.
you think that, Harold.
Look at Judge. You did a great interview with Daniel Penn.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.